So in a moment, I'm going to bring up Bob and Diane Cunningham. Before I do, it's interesting. There's some common things that are being shared by all of these speakers. They're talking about engaged leadership. They're talking about servant leadership. They're talking about leading by example. They're talking about engagement. They're talking about efficiency. They are not talking about the economy, taxation, regulation. They're not talking about what they can't control. They're talking about what they can. So let's bring up our final franchisees, Bob and Diane Cunningham. Hi.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Thanks, you too.
Bob, good to see you. Grab a seat. All right. I have to confess, we saved the best for last.
Well, thanks.
How you guys doing?
No pressure at all there.
No pressure at all.
We are a little nervous after all that excellence that we just
I
witnessed.
know. It's just amazing what you can learn from peers. I wish we had time to bring up the other 497, I believe, owners that are currently sitting in the room. So maybe as a starting place, tell us a little bit about your business. You're in another garden spot, Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Erie, Pennsylvania. We are located in Erie, Pennsylvania, northwest Pennsylvania, right in the corner. And contrary to what Mark said, I'm sure it's on everybody's bucket list for places to visit.
We have 11 beaches.
We do have beaches. But we have, in Erie, Pennsylvania, we have approximately 280,000 residents in Erie County. Mm-hmm. We have about 15% of those as being seniors. Of those, we have about 50% that most likely cannot afford our service.
Okay.
We have competition like everybody else does. I know we always hear that we're unique because we're up in the corner and we're tucked in between Cleveland and Buffalo and Pittsburgh, and we're up there by ourselves, so we're unique. We're not unique. We're as unique as the rest of the 800 franchises in the U.S. But we have competition just like everybody else does. We have a lot of major franchises. Our biggest competition is private.
Okay.
Is people working under the table.
Right.
Erie is a place that you just don't leave. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of people that, one reason in the winter is because we get so much snow you can't leave, but there's people that just live there for their life.
Absolutely.
And there's connections there. So they will hire somebody under the table, and that's our biggest competition.
Yeah. And I know from our conversation, you have kind of an interesting story because you really purchased a unit that was operating, but maybe not operating quite so well. And I'd love you to share that because I think it gives some insight into that whole, you probably ought to pay attention to your staff conversation that seemingly we're having right now.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that the franchise started in Erie in 2002. Diane was one of the first employees hired as a caregiver.
And because nobody ever listened to me, I begged Bob to purchase the business years after that.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, so, but she was one of the first. She moved up, shortly after that, she moved into the office because, and doing marketing because the current owner realized that her background was actually in public relations and marketing in the hospital system. So she went out and marketed. Well, she'd come home frustrated all the time because she said, we need to do this. We need to do this to grow their business. We need to do that. And the owner wouldn't listen. She just didn't want to grow it any more than she did. I mean, she was comfortable. She got to a comfortable level. And a comfortable level in business is death. And she just didn't want to grow it. So anyhow, like Diane said, yeah, it went on. And in 2009, she was director of operations at that time. We decided we were going to buy the business because we knew that there was potential. And we're fortunate to tonight be getting the Legacy Award for $300,000 plus in a month.
Congratulations. Well done.
Thanks. Thank you. And we've in 3 full years of ownership, we've grown in excess of 300%.
Which is a terrific achievement, and I think probably something everyone in the room would love to aspire to. Obviously, you're doing some things right. Can you share some of the things that you think you're doing exceptionally well that are helping you succeed?
I think I'll take that one. You know, after sitting and being the last of the 4 owners, I admire all the owners that we have come to know, because everybody aspires to be great, and everybody aspires for excellence and all of that. You know, I just think that our commitment to excellence and our commitment to keeping our eye on the ball and paying attention to detail. When we have office staff members and all of that, meetings and all of that, we talk a lot about detail. I'm proud of the staff that we have in the office. They're so committed to dotting their I's, as I say to them all the time, and crossing their T's. And you have to be able to do that and lay your head down at night and know that those little things weren't missed. So
Right.
our commitment to detail is number one, probably. Our always looking after excellence. One of the other couples, I think it was Jack and Jackie, said, you know, at the end of the day, I want to lay my head down at night and everything like that. And I think that, again, the fact that our staff is always committed to good communication with families. We have our families' backs. We definitely do. So that's what I think really we're proud of. You want to add anything to that?
Just that, you know, with the staff, we've learned along the way, you have to listen to your staff. You have to take their ideas, you have to let them run with it. We've heard it earlier today from some of the other owners. You know, an eagle's not going to soar unless you allow them. You know?
Absolutely.
And you just have to let them get them out of the nest and let them do their thing and help. With that, we get to work on our business and not in the business.
Right.
But I think what makes us a little bit more unique up here talking to you today, Robert, is the fact that we spend a lot of time, we know our staff internally is very, very good and pay attention to detail. But what I think we want to get across to the audience today is our paying attention on what's going on in the outside of our business. Bob and I are both born and raised in Erie.
Right.
So we do know our community. We take pride in our community. A long time ago, years ago, when I was in public relations, I used to wear an Erie pin all the time, and people used to joke I should work for the Chamber of Commerce. Speaking of that, it's a really good idea to join your chamber. But we really pay attention to the community outreach. We were thrilled when the franchise put together the Alzheimer's program, because back in the day when I worked for the previous owner, I always said to her, I really feel as your CSR that our niche in this community is in Alzheimer's.
Right.
And we have to set ourselves apart, not only as being the best for care in the community and that we really care about our families, but there is so much in the way that this community is lacking in Alzheimer's care. So she agreed, and we did move forward with that a little bit, but boy did we soar. Bob and I first took over the business and decided that Alzheimer's Awareness Walk, the Walk to End Alzheimer's, was going to be something that we just had our caregivers just get so excited about. And I'm proud to tell you that the first year that we owned the business, we had like a cheerleading rally, a big rally for the Walk to End Alzheimer's. We invited the media, and we invited the folks that film our commercials. We'll talk about that. We do a lot of TV advertising. And we showed our community through paid commercials how excited we were about getting on board with the Alzheimer's Walk. We shared with our community the enthusiasm of our own caregivers.
Right.
But we also invited our community to join our cause. And so, you know, community commitment, getting involved in your community is really something that we have really taken to heart. Yeah. But in addition to that, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, one of the things that I was absolutely surprised at when we spoke yesterday is you're out 3 and 4 nights a week, every week. Think about that. That's 150, 200 nights a year of engagement in the community. The flip side is, and there's a lot of work in the middle, look at what you've achieved. I mean, that's just remarkable.
We are out in the community. We're involved in every aspect of it, whether it be the art museum, the Philharmonic, the sport teams. We're fortunate to have some semi-pro, I guess. I don't know. They used to be called semi-pro. I guess the AA baseball and Canadian Hockey League, and we have. The Seawolves are part of the Detroit Tiger farm team. And anyhow, we're involved with all of them. We are out there. We do charities. We get involved with charities, whether it be, Diane mentioned the Alzheimer's, whether it be that or the American Heart Association or the cancers, anything. We're involved with all of it.
But in addition to that, I just need to add this because I'm afraid we're going to forget it, and I'm looking at the time. We're committed to positioning ourselves in the community as the educational resource for aging in place, Robert. You know, I mean, we want to be looked at as the experts.
Right.
Right?
And I understand that you have really become the go-to authority for the local media on Alzheimer's issues, aging in place issues, to the place that this is a pretty big part of how you are marketing your brand within the community, and frankly, that tough economy, tough market community.
And although that was a little difficult to, get past all the barriers I needed to say, but wait, I can tell you, I can talk about senior issues. We finally are at that point. But, I want everyone to know there's a lot of free stuff we get. So along with the paid advertising that we do, I think that everybody in this room should really embrace the PR program that the Franchise Center has put out there.
Yeah.
It just has opened lots of doors for us. And Bob said this afternoon, which I want to share. When we ask people, how did you know about Home Instead Senior Care? You know what they say to us, and I'm proud of this? You're everywhere. You're everywhere. And it's not just Bob and I everywhere, but we involve our caregivers everywhere and our staff members. But also, we support our community and we give back. And I think, it's just being a good neighbor.
Absolutely. And by the way, particularly in these services, and I'm going to speak of my own personal experience, you buy these services from people that you feel you can trust and you hopefully like and you hopefully respect. And when you have built a brand and reputation of integrity in the community, you become the logical choice for that family who's facing, when I can tell you from my own experience, is a difficult decision. Who do you put your loved one's care, into whose hands do you put their care? So I certainly get that. Kind of final question. Best takeaways for this group. What's the one thing you'd like to say to all of these people? By the way, we're going to line them up and give you 5 minutes with each of them. No, we're not. What's the one thing that each of you, because you both have a lot to say and share, but what's the one thing you'd want them to know from each of you relative to why your business is succeeding and what they can go home and be doing on Monday?
Well, I'll start with one thing, and just saying how we do things. We commit for the entire year to advertise. We have an ad agency. We don't want to be dealing with that ourselves because we have better things to do than to worry about where we're going to place an ad. We do our own ads. They produce them, we're in them because we're the face of Home Instead. That's who they want to have a face.
Along with free public PR work, too.
Right.
So it's a commitment to both. It's a commitment to both.
Right, but we commit to it, but we're consistent with it. If business is up, we still advertise the same. If business is down, we advertise the same. One little short story is the previous owner would occasionally advertise when business got down. When business dropped, well, I need to, so you take the canned ad off the shelf and you put it on TV, and it does nothing. You can't advertise that way. Our backgrounds are too far, we know, but we have to do advertising and PR together. One doesn't work without the other.
Right.
You have to put the whole package together and be committed to it. And be committed for as long as you have the franchise.
And put a face to it. And again, go back to that educational component. You're offering yourself as, the educational expert in aging. You're offering that, and you're giving back to the community at the same time. You have to have all your ducks in a row back at the office, and your caregivers have to be good quality caregivers, and on and on and on. But I mean, now is the time. I cannot say this enough. I feel like I look out to this room. I adore so many owners, and I talk to them, but I really think now is the time for Home Instead, not just in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is not just a unique market, it isn't. Now is the time for all of us owners to get together and to create brand awareness. We deserve it. We should, you told me something the other day at lunch, or was it today?
Today, one of those.
Whatever day it is, about the fact, in community, or awareness. And I'm not sure Home Instead is, sorry you guys at home office, but I'm not sure people are as aware. Even here in Omaha, I was getting my nails done the other day, and the lady didn't ever hear of Home Instead. So we need to do a better job about creating brand awareness. So. And
by the way, to create truly ubiquitous branding, ubiquitous meaning everywhere and everyone knows it, and the recognition I'm prompted is almost 100%. Coca-Cola, 100 years. We're 20 in, right? The company is 20 years in. I think the company has great branding, but in an increasingly competitive market, we know that the investment in marketing is part of what you're going to have to do to go forward. This has been a lot of fun. We're going to have you back at the end of this session as part of the group to take some questions, by the way, from all of you. But I so appreciate you spending some time up here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bob, thank you.
Thank you.